Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing talk show. We are joined tonight by Rachel Moore. Rachel, I met her, I don't know how long ago I met her, but I met her again a couple of weeks ago. They were doing a Be Live episode with Ross Brand, and we were up for, I think, what was it, like a nomination? Mm-hmm. It was a fantastic show they had. And I've had Ross on before, but I said, you know what, I want to bring Rachel on as well because she has such a great personality, very knowledgeable. And so I want to introduce Rachel to you, and I'm going to let her give you an introduction about herself. She does a lot of different things. So without further ado, Rachel, thank you so much for being on Social Chatter this week.
Of course, I really appreciate you guys extending the invitation. And just so you guys know, so Social Chefs was one of our picks. I believe it was my pick, I think, that I brought you guys on for Best of Be Live, Ross Brand and I. That's one of the things I'm into that I'm doing this year and that we were doing at the end of last year. Ross Brand and I co-host a show from the Be Live TV Facebook page. And Be Live is actually the platform we're using right now to be on this show, but it's a live streaming platform that you can use to very easily, yet very polishedly go, I made up a word just now, that you can go live on Facebook. And so each week, Ross and I pick a Be Live show, someone that uses Be Live to do live stream broadcasting. And you guys were my pick. And we always kind of let two picks go up against each other. We interview the host, and then the live audience gets to vote. So that's why you guys were there. But that's one thing we're into this year. One of my goals from last year was really trying to keep a foothold in live streaming because, y'all, that's not going anywhere. Live streaming is here to stay. So, and Ross is a great partner to have too. I had worked with Be Live on a different show that I'd done, and it didn't quite take. It wasn't really hitting a niche, and so we were like, "What else could we try?" And we hit on this idea to feature Be Live users in a kind of best of show. And Ross, it was just a no-brainer for me. I'm like, that's the perfect person. Hi, I see Joanne in the comments and everybody. So I'm gonna also be greeting everybody too because I like y'all. But and I see my friend Chris McNamee, and so. That's one thing I'm doing this year. I also did take on a full-time role. I work for the Colorado Department of Human Services with their digital communications, which I really dig because that's a really good social good outlet. Plus, I like working full-time. Getting paid is nice. But I really enjoy that where we're actually trying to communicate what resources people can use and stuff. So I love that. And then I recently have a kind of a personal project that my family is with me on. We just launched a podcast called Unpause It. And basically it's my husband and I and our two kids. They're 9 and 11. And we review nerdy entertainment. And right now we're doing all the Avengers movies and kind of counting down through from Iron Man all the way. We're going to go all the way through to when Infinity War is released. So we're really excited about that. And lastly, I do still have the brand Really Social. Obviously, having a lot of different projects going on, it's a little hard to keep up with everything. So I try not to kill myself with that. But that's my brand, Really Social, because I try to be. And that is honestly how I actually got to meet the other half of Social Chefs, Rick Schwain at Summit Live last year. And you will see a couple people in the comments. They actually were part of our conference on a couch, a little sitting out where Nick went up to his hotel room to co-host the show with you. And we were kind of trolling you guys from the comments, which was really fun for us. I don't know how it was for you, but you guys handled it beautifully. So I appreciate you letting me back on actually to be trolled on this broadcast.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it was great having you on. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, that's the thing with live streaming. You take you don't know what you're going to get sometimes. So
right.
You just take the good with the bad. I mean, it's like doing a radio broadcast, doing live video, doing a news show. I mean, it's all the same. I mean, you get feedback from people. So
right.
It was great having you on. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight.
Of course.
So. You want to get into tonight's topics? I know we don't have a whole lot of topics this week.
That's okay.
It's the first of the year. But I think we have some very useful topics for businesses here.
Yes.
So let's start off with some Snapchat news, and it's very surprising that we say Snapchat is one of the main topics for the week. They've had Snapchat's Lens Studio. They've had when they did a redesign, that was a big topic.
Yeah.
This week I think it's actually this might be a controversial topic, and I'm very interested in hearing what everybody else that's watching tonight has to say about this.
Right.
So the first topic that we have for the week is that Snapchat is looking to publish content on third-party websites with stories everywhere. I'm going to bring this up for everybody to see this. There's not a whole lot that's actually here. I mean, this is on The Verge. I don't think they have any screenshots. Yeah, no screenshots here. But what they have is they're basically talking about how Snapchat is looking to grow its user base with a feature called Stories Everywhere. And the whole purpose of this would be to allow for people to be able to embed Snapchat stories outside of Snapchat. You a big Snapchat user?
No, I'll be honest, I haven't been. I honestly, I feel like it's the Godfather where they keep bringing me back in. I'll leave for a while and then come back based on someone I know who's using it. Lately, it's been mostly because my nieces, who are teenagers, have been using it, and I'm like, oh, I want to keep up with what they're doing. So, no, I'm just not. I maybe use it maybe once a week, just to be quite honest. But I really like it, and frankly, I like this development.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, and here's the thing: Snapchat, they kind of have a bit of a dilemma going on here, and this is going to also be with the next topic as well. They want to, they don't want to be a place where, they don't want to be like everybody else, and they've done a fantastic job, I think, of this. To the point where Facebook and Instagram copy them with pretty much every feature that they come out with. Totally. But with this, I mean, they also are struggling, with kind of what Twitter was struggling with, which is user growth, and how do you get people outside of your how do you get people from outside of your platform to, to come to your platform? I mean, if people are already saying, hey, Snapchat's confusing, they did a redesign. So now they're trying this whole stories everywhere, or they're hopefully going to try the stories everywhere feature. And, I think overall, this is something that, they're going to have to upset the apple cart, I guess, as you would say. Yeah. In order to grow their user base. I mean, right now, the only people that, if you don't have a big Snapchat audience, and you're struggling just, getting people to view it, you need this third-party website content, to be able to tap into your blog, get your snaps, embedded maybe on, a major news site or something to be able to get some traction.
Yeah, I love this development. I'm not going to lie. And for anyone who might be doubting it, being like, oh, no, YouTube, hello. I mean, how many people use YouTube to embed their videos on just everywhere else? I mean, I do it through my job. I've done it all the time. YouTube, I mean, being such a huge, you might think, oh, I'll just leave it on YouTube and that's all I need. But they really saw the advantage of saying, no, we can be beyond our platform. I like how, too, the Verge article mentions Twitter, that this was like when Twitter allowed people to embed their tweets elsewhere. And if you're looking at that also, so there's similarities between YouTube and Twitter. YouTube being that, yes, if you embed YouTube and if you now embed a Snapchat story somewhere, chances are, I'm sure they're going to make sure that's branded and saying, yes, this was a Snapchat story. Click here to go add that user or go try it yourself. And as people are able to, this is just going to blow it wide open, I think, for people who've always said, I'm never going to go look at Snapchat or try it or anything. They're going to see the results of impacts of what you can do in Snapchat from this. And I really do think it's going to be a draw to people. I want to try that. That looks really creative. I really like that notion. And again, I do think this, for people who do want to just stay in touch maybe with their younger relatives or other relatives or something, why not make that, this could be the pushing point to say, okay, I am going to cross over. And then also just, looking at another platform I think that's struggling with its relevance right now is Twitter, as is Snapchat. Snapchat's trying to still kind of, we need to really entrench and be a staying power here. So in that, I think that Twitter and Snapchat are similar in that they made this move to well, let's broaden the reach of this, make it easier. And for all the Snapchat users, and I know a few who actually will download their Snapchats and add them to YouTube and stuff, I'm sure they're like, yes, now I can actually just easily embed this, and I don't have to go through all that extra work to make sure my Snapchat content gets seen or anywhere else. So I see nothing but good things with this, frankly.
Same here. And, in our audience, everybody's watching tonight, Joanne, Danica, Chris, everybody that's watching, is saying
Wilson.
the same thing. Like, they're real. Is Joe on?
Yeah, Joe's in the comments. He's being sarcastic.
Very awesome. Well, everybody here is saying, either A, like I embed my content, my Snap content on YouTube, or I put it on YouTube. Joanne, I love this development. I mean, this is great that, that we're getting this kind of feedback from people. I mean, and it does, I hope Snapchat does, take this to heart and actually, release this feature, because they really need to. And I think your example of YouTube is spot on. The fact that, you could embed your YouTube videos. Like, you should be embedding your YouTube videos on your website. YouTube also, by the way, has a feature where, like, you can go into the analytics and you can see where your traffic is coming from. Is it coming from an embed, or is it coming from a standard view? And that's something that Snapchat needs to steal or needs to borrow in this case. It's basic analytics. Let me know if it's, let me know, is it, am I driving a lot of views from, say, an embed versus somebody going directly to Snapchat? I also think this will get people out of the mindset. I think it should help get them out of the mindset that Snapchat, what Snapchat is, and like you said, all the cool things that you can do with it.
Yeah. I remember my mom, I think it was about a year ago, she emailed me about Snapchat. She goes, isn't that just for sending nude pictures? I'm like, no, I'm sure people, and actually I know for a fact, all the girls can holler, that people do use it to try to send nude pictures. Okay. But it's such a great messaging platform. I will say, so I remember looking up my stats, and Snapchat, I think, opened this up last year, I believe, where you can look up your own analytics on your snaps. And I remember the private messages part of my analytics totally outshone any views I was getting on my story. It was all about those one-off snaps, private snaps I was doing with people, just engaging with them and stuff. So that's, I think, where the big staying power is for Snapchat. And I was going to answer Danica. I think it was Danica commented saying, do you think that Facebook will penalize Snapchat? From what I gather, I don't even think you can put your own snap code in your profile image on Facebook, because I think they had blocked people from doing that. It would not surprise me at all if the Zuck decided to be, no, you can't embed Snapchat here. Fine, but there's a wealth of other places people could embed their snaps. So, have at it. And then we'll see.
Absolutely. And if you're creating like a meaningful story, like, for example, you could create, like, for instance, with this blog post, or with this show, what we do with Social Chatter is, I take this video at the end of the day, I put it up on YouTube, and then I embed that into a blog post. I could conceivably turn that into a Snap story in this case, and put that up as well, and have a different option here. But, as Joanne mentioned here, that's childish that, they might penalize you, but I think overall this could be a very, I think this is going to be a very useful feature.
Yeah, and I do love seeing people saying that they plan to use this when it comes out, which I am excited about that. I think that actually might reboot some people, like myself even, to start using it more. Particularly, I mean, I haven't introduced my kids to it yet because they don't have smartphones yet, because I'm that parent. I'm just waiting off as long as I can. But I did get my kids their own Snapchat accounts for our podcast, because they're kids, and that's where the kids hang out. But I could see this bringing some marketers and people who may have left Snapchat thinking, now if they're able to actually more easily use that content and repurpose it, they could come back and start using it more heavily. So good move overall by Snapchat, I believe.
Definitely. So let's move on to the second topic. And by the way, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I know it's late for a lot of people, early on my end, but thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And we're going to try to keep the show as short as possible. So the second topic we've got for the week, and this is another Snapchat story. This is actually another Snapchat news article. It's the fact that Snapchat may force users to watch 3 seconds of ads before skipping. And this one I actually want to hear from everybody, because I think that overall this also has this could be, a move that forces Facebook, it forces YouTube. Well, YouTube used to have this, but it forces Facebook, it forces YouTube, it forces Twitter. Anybody's running any sort of ads, like for in this case, like video, to possibly reconsider their approach. So let's pull the topic up here for everybody to see here.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is from Ad Age. So let's see. So Snapchat
may force users. I like how they're just kind of floating that idea out there to see if it sticks.
Basically, the gist of this, Snapchat wants to force users to watch 3 seconds of video before letting you skip an ad. Or sorry, they want to make you watch a 3-second ad. This is, I think overall, the fact that, this comes back to the same thing I said earlier. They're struggling, and they're struggling with user growth. And this is, the news article here is basically, they want you to watch 3 seconds of an ad before being able to skip it. Now, on the flip side, that's like, one, that's to please the advertisers, obviously.
Sure.
Advertisers want stats. They want to see, well, hey, I'm paying all this money, or people seeing my ads? That seems like, like, is this business pulling the wool over my eyes? Are they pulling over, like, are they actually not, are they not giving me the the right insights? Are they just charging me just for the heck of it? In this case, they want people to watch your ads, before you can skip them. But on the other side, you have the user side, and they have a very young demographic. And apparently those stats say that, people only watch less than a second before they want to skip it. So what do you actually do there? What are your thoughts on this topic?
It's a mixed bag. I mean, let's just face it. Ads are going to always be rife in any social platform that's trying to live. I mean, you guys, if people really love Snapchat and they want it to stick around, there are going to be some concessions that are going to happen. It's, it's trying to gain that foothold and maintain a foothold. And I just don't see this as being a big deal. I mean, my gosh, we put YouTube playlists up every morning when I get the kids ready for school, and we're just watching funny videos the kids have liked or subscribed to or whatever. And we always run across the ad that you can't skip through, and you just power through it. You're like, whatever, turn it down or whatever. Or you try to ignore it. Stupid, medication commercials or whatever. And you're like, kids, bleh. We all loathe them, but we put up with them because we're waiting for the content on the other side of the ad. I think I've seen at least 2 George Takei videos on his timeline where I get interrupted in the middle because of an ad and I can't skip through. But I wait because I know I'm kind of hooked and I want to see what's on the other side of the ad. So I also love what Joe Wilson said about, well, they're going to make me watch it. I don't know if anyone watches Black Mirror, and I've only seen the first 2 episodes because they're so disturbing. But one of the episodes, it's where they actually they can sense if someone's watching something, and if they don't watch it, they'll wait for you to open your eyes again to see it. We're not there yet, people. This is really just it playing on your screen, and you don't have to look at it and whatever. You're not forced to do anything. So I don't know. I think this is more like, oh God, they're going to put ads. Yes, they are. These platforms are in the end trying to make the money. So I just don't see this as being a big deal. If it was 10 seconds, but 3 seconds, I think it's negligible, and I think people get used to it. And again, I think they're trying to balance this out with the fact that, hey, but we'll make your stories embeddable. So you win, and you might give a little bit to win, but I don't think it's a big deal.
And by the way, I want to bring up Danica's comment here. Danica's comment is, it's like the ad in the middle of a video elsewhere. I usually bail in protest. And I do tend to agree. I mean, having to watch ads, we're getting to the point where we don't want to watch ads. Like we don't,
right.
I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV, for instance.
That's
so
true.
The advertisers have to find a new way to be able to, get you, or in this case, Snapchat, like they're a publicly traded company. They have, fiduciary responsibility to shareholders to try to make money. And in this case, like you have to watch ads. But I do think also at the same time, she says, hey, I'm not as patient as Rachel. And, that's a great point. I mean, our attention span is getting really, really, really short here. So I'm wondering, maybe, is there a better approach? Because, like we've got Danica commenting here, but then we also have Jeff saying, hey, you know what? the biggest issue with Snapchat's user growth and forcing ads on a new user is the opposite of a great experience. That to me suggests that, you know what, maybe we need a new model here with how we're doing things. Like if somebody's a new user, do we say, you know what, we're not going to show ads to the new user because we want them to have a great experience. And then if you're there for like, say, you know, I don't know, 14 days, 30 days, something like that, then we start showing you some ads or something.
Right. Or could they like let you have, is that on Facebook, guys, where I think they let you actually designate your preference a bit to say, so you're going to see ads. Here are the types of ads you could choose to see. You know, do you like these kind better than these kind? And granted, they have all the data they need to know what people are watching and kind of gravitate that way, but they're not going to hit it perfect. So, I mean, maybe they could give you a little choice to say, okay, yeah, I really do like the notion of holding off on ads until the user has had some longevity in the app. But maybe also to give you, okay, you're going to see some ads. Would you prefer to see this one or this one? And that'll be how we decide what to deliver to you. I mean, give them the power to the people a little bit, not really, but, you know, just the guise of some choice maybe.
And by the way, I do hope Snapchat, you know, at least if they're watching this, I doubt they are, but if they're watching this, I do hope that they, you know, take some of these suggestions to heart, because I think that those are great suggestions. Jeff, love the suggestion there.
Yeah.
I mean, what other ways do you guys think that Snapchat can, you know, have some sort of ad revenue? I mean, have some sort of feature here.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, definitely the bigger names, you know, who the people with the big followings probably are going to get targeted as far as like, you know, padding their content, you know, before you skip to the next person's story with ads and stuff. I do like what Danica was saying, that Joe's going to get Tiger Beat ads now. Everybody's watching, everybody's assessing what we're talking about and things like that. And I don't know, I feel like smarter advertising is probably the way to go. I mean, because you're less likely to balk at an ad if it remotely appeals to something you've been thinking or shopping for lately. So if people could use, God, they got enough money and the data is definitely out there. If people could use that data for smarter advertising, I think that'd be a winning formula across. But obviously people are still trying to figure that out, or they wouldn't need to advertise because they'd be making all the money with their formulas. But yeah, it's interesting to see where that's going to go. And again, they said they may do it. So I wonder if they'll get some uproar about it and be like, never mind, we were just kidding. We'll try it again in 6 months.
I mean, it's a very tough thing to, you know, that's a tough like nut to crack here, basically. You know, Jeff also mentioned, you know, hey, how about bartering ads to users for extra features? That's another thing that should happen. I wonder, you know, how fast is Snapchat actually, how fast, you know, how many features do they have in the pipeline that they're, you know, testing that they can actually, you know, work with? Because, you know, I think adding features is a great thing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of people gaming a system, I mean, like, hey, you know what, make me watch some ads. And hey, I watch your ads. I mean, I guess that's still a sort of gaming the system, but make me watch some ads so that, you know, I can get some features, or heck, maybe, you know, let me unlock, I don't know, what do you guys think? Certain filters or lenses or something?
That's what Jeff's saying, is get a special AR augmented reality filter if they, you know, put up with 30 seconds. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's about the give and take and what they can get away with without really, again, making like people like Danica where they're like, I'm out, you know, you get so fed up. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really surprise me. I mean, again, from a practical standpoint, I just know ads are just always going to be there. And I will say there are moments with YouTube where I'm like, I really am ready to chuck it. Be like, forget it. Or just put it on the radio, dag nabbit. But yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I like these developments though from Snapchat because they also help push the industry forward. You know, it's not just like, hey, let's just do what Facebook's doing or let's do what YouTube's doing here. Let's try a little bit of a different approach. Let's rock the boat a little bit. You know, I know it does come at the expense of their users, but you know, you got to test it to be able to find out what works. I mean, you're not going to please everyone. And, you know, you have to know that. And as a business, it's the same thing. You want to build your website, you know, you're deciding should I launch a blog? Should I add this new feature? Test it out on your site, you know, see what happens and look at the feedback, the data that you get from users. And, you know, if it's there, you know, the data will give you the answer. I mean, instead of just guessing.
One thing I'd be interested to know too is with the whole embedding of stories, I'm assuming that means just a single user stories. Like they're not going to make it to where you could like, like when you're in the app, how you can actually create a little playlist right then and select which stories you want to watch. I would really hope that for embedded Snapchat stories, they don't try it on that. At least not for a long time. To only make it in the app, for people who are natively using the app. But it's, I don't know. Ads are a reality. They suck. But if they're not such bad ads, maybe they don't suck as bad. I don't know. But I do like and seriously, Snapchat, you should be listening and watching and reading the comments, because there actually are some really good ideas in here that possibly they're not thinking about. So
definitely. And thanks so much, everybody, for all the feedback on this. I mean, that's these are great suggestions. So let's move on to our third topic for the night. This is basically, in a nutshell, Twitter they used to archive all public tweets. And, from a business purpose, the business purpose here is that you will be, there are ways that you could go about archiving your tweets to begin with. But basically, the bottom line here is Twitter's no longer archiving all public tweets in the Library of Congress. Citing longer character limits. Sorry, the Library of Congress actually is no longer archiving these, not Twitter. Sorry.
Right.
And I personally, I think this is something that should have been expected, because Twitter's moved into, allowing lots of different types of media. You can embed, you've got Periscope, you got your scopes, you've got, animated GIFs, you got photos, you got videos. People are no longer just sending text tweets. Right. So this is a very brief feature that was available to archive public tweets. So
yeah, I mean I get it. I think their answer makes sense. I just feel like there's more to it. I mean, for one thing, Twitter's having its own issues lately. I actually left Twitter for I think a good month because I was just ticked at them for their policies on banning or suspending accounts, or if they threaten violence but it's newsworthy, it's okay. It's like, really, and I've seen some of my friends get banned where they basically tweeted an expletive at somebody because they were mad and they got banned. It's just like, what are you doing? And so I get frustrated at them anyway. So they're not really someone I'm just totally, let me campaign for you about why this. So I think they're having issues anyway. And also, I mean, just the political climate. We've got bots, you've got campaign bots and trolls and, algorithms that are potentially impacting things. But yeah, I think there are more factors than what they gave as to why they're not going to be archiving those anymore. But it does make sense. I mean, I'm sure it made, they're like, ooh, there's a new thing. Let's save these. And now they're like, whatever. It's everywhere. Just go and be social.
I do tend to agree that, that they have, I mean, the tweets have a lot of, I mean, as Joe mentioned here, actually, he said they probably ran out of shelf space. And that's, that is probably right there. You're keeping these tweets and, you're keeping every possible tweet, basically. I think overall, when they went from 140 to 280 characters, I mean, that did change a lot. But when you think of it in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much, really. It's not. I think that, overall, I mean, if you personally as a business need a backup of your tweets, one of the things I personally use is I use an IFTTT recipe. And this basically will automatically back up your tweets.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And that's a smart way to do it. Well, and even to that point, so many tweets aren't even native anymore. I mean, I've got an IFTTT recipe that will tweet my Instagram images over onto Twitter. It looks native. So, I mean, you are talking about that where it's not necessarily a tried and true formula that we're only archiving tweets. It's like, actually, you're archiving some Instagram posts in there too. And little did you know. But so I mean, I think for posterity, it's probably an interesting social experiment. It still will be. It's not like they deleted the archives they've built. It'll be cool to look back at. And you do get to see the evolution of a platform over 10 years. So it's a cool social experiment to see. But again, I mean, I just run into so many people nowadays too who are like, do you use Twitter? No, I don't understand it. Which I really, it does. It's a battle within me. I like Twitter a lot. It's been my favorite platform for a long time. They're struggling, and we fight a little bit more now. But I just think that the fact they're like, well, maybe they should have archived Facebook posts, but that would have been just that. You talk about shelf space.
Yes, so. Absolutely. Well, and here's the thing: you can't really archive something that's not really public, I guess.
Right.
You can only archive the public tweets and that, or the public post. And in this case, like with Twitter, I mean, the whole thing is, like when you've been teaching people, you've been telling them, hey, you know what? You don't want to put your account on lock. Basically, you don't want to, you don't want to protect it because nobody can see your tweets. So therefore, you're kind of playing into that whole trap of things of every tweet is out there that's that's essentially backed up. On the Facebook side, you can only see what people make public. Most people probably have their settings on Facebook locked down to just friends or only a few friends. Right. We get a ton of questions from people at Social Chefs. We get tons of questions from people asking, and this is stuff like literally, I think I had this week, somebody asked us about, they were sharing photos and they didn't want those to be, they wanted family to be able, certain family to be able to see them, but not see them because then the person was sharing it and it was like a private moment or something like that. And I was like, well, how do I block that? And I was like, well, that gets to be a little cumbersome, but you can set up. You
can do it, right? But it's people, but you're going to run into that for sure. And I've always loved, I get a kick out of laughing at people who wind up tweeting, why is everybody seeing it? It's like, because it's public. There is no privacy on Twitter. There's a direct message and then there's a tweet. I mean, it's black and it's white, and you're just you're either totally private or totally public. You're just not going to, come on. So, you do your due diligence before you always pause before you post. Where am I? What am I posting? Absolutely. Who could see this? How will they react? I mean, all the things you have to consider. Go ahead. Sorry. Oh,
no, go ahead. Good. No, go.
Well, I've always liked that. I know that's kind of, reverse. It doesn't make sense necessarily, but I've always liked the fact that Twitter's so public is because I liked the transparency of it. But even then, that's been compromised too, because now you've got so many freaking fake accounts, people who, are growth hacking, or they're doing bots, or they're, doing fake accounts to make it seem like certain things a certain way, or that there's, that the masses are following this. So it has lost some of that integrity with it. But I really did like the notion that I'm like, all these people are just public and they're just sharing stuff and they're being free with their thoughts. Yay. And now it's like, maybe reel those back in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, I think it's a good move by, I think it's a good move. I think though that, like you said, it's standard practice. I mean, just assume that everything you send out is going to be public.
Yes.
It may be set to private. Someone's going to someone's going to take a screenshot of it. You're going to accidentally have the wrong setting on a couple of things. Just assume that's going to be public. And, just be mindful of that. I mean, I realize that does in a way censor you a bit, but just keep that in mind. I mean, and then you won't run afoul.
Well, and to that point, I always advise people, go find a message board somewhere, a Slack channel where you can join anonymously, create a handle for yourself. You never give your own personal identification stuff out or anything that would identify you, and be free with your thoughts there. If you absolutely must, because then because you're totally right, Christian. I mean, you might be best friends with somebody and send them something, and who knows, in 2 years you guys fall out and they get all bitter and act like a 12-year-old and decide to go share what you shared with them with the other people. You can't control the content once it's out. You can't. No. So you do need to be mindful of that, and always just know anything you post, particularly if it's from your name and your user and people know it's you, that could be used against you, and not just in a court of law. So just be mindful. It's a dangerous world in which we live for social media, but I still love it. I would never trade it in for anything. It's awesome.
No, absolutely. And I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, like I'm on the other side of the world right now. I mean, it's just amazing. We're able to connect and, stay up to date and whatnot of what's going on. It's pretty fantastic.
I know, it's awesome.
So let's bring up our last news topic for the night, and then we're going to talk about a couple of tools real quick.
Cool.
So the last topic is Facebook, not Twitter, will be live streaming this year's Golden Globes red carpet pre-show. Now, the news here, granted it's not the whole Golden Globes, it's just the pre-show, but the Hollywood Foreign Press Association and Dick Clark Productions, they're announcing the new 2-hour event would be exclusively available on the Golden Globes Facebook page from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, January 7th, 2018. So the main gist of the story is that the Globe's is testing out something new. Like Facebook already has all this awesome technology. They've got live video. You know, they've got, like, we're doing Facebook Live, for instance, right now. We're on Be Live on Facebook Live. They've got 360 video. They've got 360 photos and whatnot. Like, they've got some amazing technology that, you know, in this case, the Golden Globes can tap into for pre-show content. This, I think, in a way, it's almost like a bit of a changing of the guards that, you know, that Facebook is now kind of supplanting Twitter for live streaming. I think that's a big move. But I think at the same time, you know, this also, I think, is a way that, like, you know, if you look at like the numbers, for instance, that Facebook has over on Facebook and on Instagram, I mean, this is a smart move by the Golden Globes, I think. I think they were talking about how, let me find the actual numbers here. It said, you know, like they have 2.3 million users on their Facebook page. And this actually, I'm wondering if they left out a number here, but this is crazy. 230 million followers on their main Instagram channel. That's ridiculous how big of a number that is of potential viewers for the red carpet. I haven't looked at their Twitter stats, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be 230 million.
No. Well, and I mean, that, I think you just kind of hit on why this was such a great deal. Obviously, Facebook owns Instagram, and they're basically kind of double tasking this, where they're going to have it on Instagram as well as on Facebook. So you get a whole visual experience. You know, you get, you know, this crossover. If you're Instagram, you can just stay there and know what you're getting and stuff, but then it's an easy, you know, hop to go over to Facebook and watch the video. I think it makes sense. I think it was this show, the Golden Globe show, or some show I like watched a few moments of on Twitter last year, and I was so disappointed because whoever was and it was totally the direction. I don't think it had to do with the tech, but they were just, I felt like they were just hitting it wrong. Like, you could hear what was going on the stage, but you were seeing all the stuff backstage. I'm like, okay, what am I looking at here? And I felt very lost. Whereas, and again, who knows, that could have just been a production miss. I think it wasn't about Twitter live streaming, but they're looking at where they can get the most viewers. Let's face it, Facebook Live has dominated this last year, way over Twitter. Over Periscope for sure, and that's just the way it is. And so they're going where the numbers are and where the audiences are, and it makes total sense that they would make this move.
Absolutely, and I think this is a smart move. I mean, I think that, you know, go to where, like, Facebook is advertising a ton. I mean, if you go to like New York, for instance, you know, and you're in Times Square, you're seeing I mean, I don't think they're there now, maybe, but you were seeing advertisements for Facebook Live. How easy it was to get on Facebook Live. Like, people are using that platform. I mean, how many people are using Scopes? Are you using Periscope at all, or
not anymore? I just say, it's just a matter of time. And I know people still do use it. I don't want to knock that. I mean, some people are seeing great success on it, but I know I haven't been able to.
And so I think at the same time, that's one of those things where this is a good move, I think. I mean, granted, Facebook's the 800-pound gorilla on this, but I mean, but here's the thing, the technology is there. It works. It's seamless. It doesn't take a whole lot. And then at the same time, the people you're working with, the people that are watching this, they are like that. You have to go where the users are at. And if it's on Instagram, if it's on Facebook, this is well worth it. For you to tap into, and I think the business application of this, and like I said, every time we do this show, we always try to position it from a business perspective. Yeah. It's not the fact that Facebook is supplanting Twitter here. I think the other thing is, from a business application, is that if you have not looked into using Facebook Live or 360 video or photos, by the way, you can put those in your cover photos too, by the way. If you've not looked into doing those, you need, this is a good time to start doing it, because as you can see, the trend is, you've got a huge entertainment show. It's a huge entertainment show. They're moving towards this technology. You probably should be testing it out yourself. And go ahead.
Well, One important point too, and this totally drives at that business perspective. They're not showing the awards ceremony on Facebook Live.
Right.
They're showing the pre-show. So it's not like they're giving away the farm. It mentions in the article that it will be harder for people to access the live show without paying for it. It'll be available like on Hulu and stuff like that and NBC Live. But usually if you have NBC, you're going to need to be paying for cable or something like that, unless you can get it on your, TV. But so in that sense, the Facebook Live will be free. The pre-show will be free. But if you feel like, oh, I got to the end of the pre-show, I want to see what happens now, you're going to have to cart yourself over to traditional TV or some streaming services, and where you are probably most likely going to pay to see it. But that's how they get you. They use that Facebook Live. And I always tell people that too. I'm like, don't give away everything on Facebook Live. You want to tease. You want to, just kind of throw that hook so people are like, I want to go see more. Thank you for showing me this. I need to go. Where do I go now to give you my dollars so I can watch the rest of your content?
Absolutely. And that's a very great point you bring up there. I mean, people, you need to tease with, using the live feature. And this is a great way to do it. I mean, if they knock it out of the park with that pre-show, granted, they only get one shot with this.
Right.
They'll do a good job, I think. But if they knock it out of the park, people are going to then, hopefully stick around and tune into the show. Some people go to watch just the fashion. They go to see the celebrities that are there. But it's also pretty cool because it gives you some really, I don't want to say just cool. It could give you ideas as well. Like if you're looking to use this from a business purpose, what are these people doing? Here's the thing. They're not doing very much different from what you can do yourself nowadays. I mean, you got a smartphone. All you need is your smartphone. Maybe you get an external microphone. You don't have to have like all the production gear that they're using, but you could at least do a lot of that yourself and get some ideas if you need them. So it's good to consume content, but also, because it can give you ideas of what you could do with yours as well.
Absolutely.
So we're at the end of the news topics for this week. Let's get into two tools for everybody here. And the first tool is Swipe File. And this is, again, an ideas tool in this case. Swipe File is, it's a free tool. It's basically a website. You can go to the website. Let me actually get this pulled up.
Yeah, I'm checking it out now too.
Okay. So Swipe File, you need some ideas. Pretty much it's a place to go to get different ideas as a marketer. And it's pretty simple. You just go here and you can see different types of swipe files. In this case, this could be, and a swipe file, by the way, is copy, essentially. It could be, for your about page. If you're a business and you do before and after, for example, I was chatting with a business this week. They do, they do repairs on vehicles. Your vehicle gets in an accident. They were showing the before and after. Like this could be good swipe copy that they might want to deploy in their marketing. You've got email marketing here as well. You could, you send email marketing. Like we send emails once a week. This is where we swipe copy ideas, explainer videos. Let's see, you got flyers, you got homepage design, packaging design, pricing, all that sort of stuff. Things that people, if you're a business just getting started, this is a great place to go to look at all of this. And we've got tons and tons and tons of ideas here.
No, I really liked it. Like if you guys, I'm looking at the restaurant signs one. It's pretty cool because like, I can imagine if you like had the little board outside your restaurant, you're like, what? I need to come up with something new for it. And you just hop in here and you could totally borrow from something on here or that's one thing I do like. I mean, I as a marketer, I've often gone just to Google Images. I'll like kind of type in a topic and I'll start kind of looking through different images. And sometimes those give me enough idea to say, ooh, I'm not going to use that exactly, but I am going to go try that kind of notion out on my own graphic. And I really like the way that turned out. I'll just make it custom to myself. So I do like this notion of how it's aggregated. And do you know how, like, do they upload their own ideas into it? And is that how they kind of bring things together?
I'm not sure exactly how you get your content into this, but I'm sure they have. I'm sure they're curating from multiple sources. I was just looking at a tool yesterday as well. That's a tool for in this case getting your content with social media influencers. And that'll be a tool for another show. But I was looking at another tool last week, and they were having one where you submit stuff. So I'm sure there's a way to submit it. You could search through here. So I didn't see.
It feels kind of like Pinterest for marketing ideas. Does that make sense?
It does actually. So, and it's pretty updated. I mean, you've got, some stuff from 2017, you've got some site audit explainer videos. They probably have a source that they're pulling from. They might not be telling you what it is, but
right.
Here, so very, very, very useful feature for marketers.
No, I like it. And yeah, I mean, because sometimes you just get stuck. You could be the most creative person in the world. You're always going to hit a rut at some point. So just kind of getting that little prompt to, ooh, there's another idea I hadn't thought about, and get that. So that's a really cool tool. I like it.
And the last tool for the week is a tool called Recite This. And this is a pretty neat tool as well. This one's going to save you a lot of time, I think, from a business purpose. Recite This, how many of you create quotes and publish some quotes on your social media channels, or possibly even in blog posts? So typically what people do is, I'm sure most people do this. They go to Canva, they go to, some stock site. They basically just change out their text. They save their images and, hey, I got the same design that I just had last week. Recite This a little bit easier, actually. You just put in your text and then you can create, multiple, like in this case, you could have this is a pretty neat one. Let's see. So let's just come up with a quote. Let's just put, test quote.
Nice.
So in this case, I could put in, test quote, and I can get all these different designs that I want to, that I might want to use. In this case, I could use this one here in the middle. This speech bubble. In this case, I've got an image. Very simple. I just tap create. And now I have the feature. They're connecting to it. They're asking me, obviously, to share my social media channels, and then they're going to let me download the file. So that is. I'm
going to create one too. I'm going to post it as soon as it's done. I wonder if this is mobile friendly too. Like because I love when there's mobile apps like WordSwag. I use that one, but where you can do something like this, where you can create a quote of anything, and it gives you just this myriad of options of settings to put the quote in. But I really like this notion.
Yeah, and here's the thing: it's about bringing people essentially a tool that's essentially a free tool. In this case, it gets you out of the monotony of using. I'm already using a free app. Well, what if I run out of themes to use? In this case, I'm actually I have all of that available to me there.
Nice. So, I like that. Good find.
So that is that's all. Those are all the topics and the tools for the week that we have. I want to say thanks a lot for joining us for tonight's show, and we're going to actually wrap it up here early, which is surprising. We normally run right up to the 6 o'clock mark.
That's because I was here. I talk so much. It's just a thing. So.
I don't mean. And for those of you, I confused you there with 6 o'clock. I meant 10 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, 10 o'clock. Or sorry, 11 o'clock actually, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock in Mountain Time. I'm in the Mountain Zone, so.
And it's about 6 a.m. here. So.
Wow.
So yes. So I want to thank you again for being a guest on Social Chatter this week. Helping us, cover the latest social media news.
Sure.
Questions for you. Where can people find you?
Oh, sure. So I went through this last year. So it's a good admonishment for anyone who, anytime a new social platform comes out, go get your handle, just go get it and try to make it the same everywhere. So I did make the effort last year of making my handle the same everywhere. And I had to change my Snapchat account. It was a little, I'm like, but it's fine. It's Rachel Moore RS. So it's RACHEL MOORERS. RS stands for Really Social. So that's my handle everywhere. And you should be able to find me there. But yeah, Facebook, Twitter. I am on Snapchat. YouTube, although YouTube is really social. It's easy for me to say, Really Social Solutions. Yeah, that's where you can find me. And I enjoy talking to you guys. So, and Messenger is honestly the best way to get hold of me anymore. So Facebook message me.
That's actually really good to hear, because a lot of people, are saying, hey, let me go connect on your social channels. Messenger, direct response. You can see when the person, actually received your message. You don't have to worry about hey, did I send them that email and did it get lost in spam? Or if you're a Gmail user, did it get put into, a tab that is, that I never check? Is it in junk? Who knows? But, and also you mentioned your podcast, right? So I'm going to put a link to that as well. So it's unpause.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, go check that out.
That's
a fun thing. You wouldn't just hear me, but you would meet my family in that as well, and they're pretty hysterical. So they're fun.
Very cool. Is that a video podcast or audio podcast?
Thus far, it's only audio. We do post the audios onto YouTube, but again, it's just like a thumbnail thing there. Eventually, we're gonna do video, but you got a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old trying to do a podcast for a while. We're kind of honing our process and making sure we get the energy as well as the not craziness. So, but my daughter wants to be a YouTuber. And so I promised her that this would be part of her training to kind of onboard that, yes, we're going to eventually, this will help you kind of get used to being, on YouTube and stuff. So I have promised her we're going to incorporate video in the future. And they're fun kids, I'm obviously, but I have to be that mom, where I'm like, okay, social media in moderation until you can learn how to use it correctly, and always to know that there are crazy people out there who will troll you. So that's what we're kind of handling right now, but it'll get video eventually.
Great point to bring up. I mean, you don't have to just jump in and start using social media. You want to, make sure you understand all of the different facets to it. I mean, you don't have to be like, oh, hey, I only, I don't know step 1 or 2, like just know the main stuff, like understand that, anybody can see your content or anybody can screenshot it. So that's the first thing. And then 2, just know who your content is going to when it gets published.
Yeah.
Don't claim ignorance. And if you do, own up to it. Like, hey, I made a mistake. Hey, I didn't understand. I just joined and I didn't realize that. I mean,
so. I'm trying to teach them about the digital footprint. That they've already started it. I mean, they have one. They're building it, and that stuff will stay with you forever. From what was that Sandlot? The movie Sandlot, forever. So they need.
By the way,
you
should turn that into a quote. use that tool we just talked about. Right. Recite This. Create a quote from it.
I will do that. But yeah, so that's why I'm all like, until right now they have some laptops they work on. And I said, okay, this is kind of your testing ground for when I think you'll be ready for a smartphone down the pipe. So yeah, it is about just making sure they learn the ropes. And that's, again, anyone out there who knows social media. And if you have kids, dude, teach them what you know. Don't just act like they're going to know it. I mean, they may be digital natives, but that doesn't mean they know how to navigate. So come on, let's teach them how to be wise on digital and get off on the right foot, because that foot will stay with them forever. So, and
that's I actually love that. I think that's a great way to end the show tonight. So I want to say thank you very much. Next week, we're going to be joined by a guest who's watching tonight, Joanne Kroll. She's going to be on next week. Yes. And so, if you have any suggestions for people that we should have on the show, we've had this is the 120th episode. Wow. We've had, a few people back here and there. We try to bring you a fresh guest every week. In this case, if you have somebody you think should be on the show, send us, just reach out to us at socialchefs.com/contact. And just let us know, hey, this is a person I think you should have on Social Chatter, and we'll get in contact with them. But thank you very much for joining. We'll be on next week, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Joanne Kroll. But for now, Rachel Moore, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And we'll see everybody next week. And by the way, we'll have a blog post recap going out tomorrow.
Nice.
Thanks
see you guys.
Bye.